So got that out of the way. Agenda item number 2 then. Declarations of interest. Does anybody have any declarations of interest? Nope. Number 3, minutes of the last meeting. I take it everybody's read the minutes. Can we have them approved? Is that agreed? Thank you. Number 4, resident update. Vice Chairman, Councillor Taylor's not here today, but she has provided me with a list of items. Robin's kindly volunteered to read that list out of events and things that are going on around town. Robin, it's over to you if you let residents know.
Councillor Taylor has given us a list of various events which are happening around the town centre. As I always say with any events which are happening, this is just a flavour. There's absolutely tons happening in and around Maidenhead and the borough. So this list is as follows. Five Fest in Fifield this weekend, kicking off their pre-party on Friday and their main event on Saturday. Looks to be a great one. I visited the site yesterday, really great setup. The Repair Cafe are in the Eco Action Hub in the Nicholson Centre on Saturday, repairing your things that would rather that you were going to throw in the bin, that you can fix them. The Farmers Market is back in Grove Road Car Park this Sunday, as it is every month, 9:30 till 1. Maidenhead Festival is coming round. It's a big event for Maidenhead, free event across 2 days, Saturday the 20th and Sunday the 21st of July, with a fireworks display on the Saturday evening, which is always fab. Northern Farm are kicking off with their summer holiday activities. So they have a sensory friendly space in their gallery from the 26th of July, open every day. They also have Circus Week running, which is a activity club. They also have a theatre week and an art week. So very excitingly, the Braywick Nature Festival on the 26th and 27th of July, 12 till 4 both days. I will add to this if you don't mind.
Yeah, you go ahead.
For further things that are on, do make sure you're following Make Maidenhead on social media. And we have also got, I will just bring up one other thing. It's like the festival season at the moment, so we've got lots of wonderful things going on. So we've mentioned Five Fest, we've mentioned Maidenhead Festival. I think that's where I'll leave it. I don't think we've missed any big ones, yeah. So that's Councillor Taylor's and mine.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Robin. Read that out beautifully. That's very kind of you to do that. Okay, let's move on to next agenda item, number 5, town team update. Back to you, Robin.
Good. Oh, got it on the screen there. That's what I like to see. So the Maidenhead town team, I'm not going to undersell them. Absolute powerhouse of volunteers working in Maidenhead at the moment. So the town team was launched over a year ago with an initial launch meeting where many people came together and discussed our want for Maidenhead to be a better place to live, work and visit. We're at a really interesting point of our journey in Maidenhead now. We're seeing an influx of new residents coming in. Our development is coming to an end. We're starting to flourish. Our footfall is back at pre-pandemic levels. So really great. The sun shines sometimes, thank God. So the town team came together at a point where it felt like a really good moment to get together and decide we're a great community, let's do some stuff for our community. From that initial launch meeting, we actually ended up with a list of about 50 things that were interesting, and they came under the themes of planting, a welcome to Maidenhead, that kind of moment of arrival, art and events, movement and cycling, maintenance issues, promotion, and then MISC. You know, all those bits that everyone's kind of thinking about. We're all thinking the same thing, and they just fall in that pot. We launched our first community project, which I hope you're all seeing the benefits of when you walk around town. That was a planting project, a clean-up and planting project, where the town team adopted and fixed up and cleaned 50 planters around the town centre. All of those ones which are, oh, thank you. All of those ones which are safe to get to in terms of volunteers working. Do you want to go to the next slide, please? Thank you so much. So yes, the planters, as you've seen in West Street, we have them in Providence Place, Broadway, and it's a fourth location. Frascati Way by the bus stop. So the team initially came out to clean up those planters, fix them up, remove graffiti and remove a lot of litter. They weren't planters, they were litter houses. Next slide, thank you. And here you can see the team working. I did slightly regret getting the orange vests because it does look like we might be prisoners, but that's okay. We're town team prisoners, so that's fantastic. These have all been planted up now, 50 planters, and they are being maintained on basically a weekly basis by volunteers which are going out and watering them. I did say that we like it when it is sunny in Maidenhead, but I must admit it has been quite handy that we've had so much rain in recent times, because the planters, if you've seen them, which I hope you all have, are looking absolutely fantastic. Next slide, thank you. Off the back of that project and a desire and enjoyment of what the town team had become, we created the monthly odd jobs session, which is the third Saturday of every month. We started in April, where volunteers will meet at 8:45 in the morning and do like an hour and a half of something. So we've seen litter picking, weeding, graffiti removal. The bus stops have had a refreshing clean up, removing stickers and various bits like that. It's a really nice community feel. It's sociable. We try and end with a cup of tea somewhere, and various cafes supporting our local economy. But what is really good about these monthly odd jobs is that we have our bright orange vests and people are noticing what we're doing. Next slide, thank you. One of those kind of odd jobs which has continued, and I think possibly one of the most impressive kind of things, is these are volunteers, and I don't want to kind of brush over that. These are residents and volunteers that want to make Maidenhead a better place to live, work and visit. And graffiti removal is not exactly the nicest thing in the world. There's one thing where you're planting and you know everything looks beautiful and gorgeous and your hands get a bit muddy, but actually this is dirty work. And volunteers have been out making a huge difference. So you can see some of our before and afters there, and you'll see some other before and afters on the next slide. Look at that, fantastic. So you'll see us in action. Oh, you can see in this slide on the left actually my Pride and Joy, the town team Pride and Joy, which is our portable water butt, useful for many things, including cleaning graffiti and planting. So the graffiti removal has gone really well. It's certainly something that is on the town team's radar. With it gone, it makes a really good impact. When people see it going, they're impressed and thankful for what the town team are being up to. But actually, the more we tackle it, the less will come, we hope. Next slide, thank you. I mentioned that the town team have also been looking at cleaning up our bus stops, which I had the pleasure of walking around town with a colleague who looks after the buses in Maidenhead, and we both agree that the bus stops are doing us a disservice. That kind of moment of arrival into the town where you kind of got to squint to see if I'm getting the right train or the right train. So that's the problem. They think they're at the train station. You've got to squint to see the information. The information's maybe a bit skew-if. There's stickers everywhere, that kind of thing. We agreed within the town team that that was something we wanted to have a little bit of a clean up with, and volunteers have been out removing all of those horrible stickers and making the glass a bit cleaner and clearer. And then we've gone back to our external contractors to be able to say, well, we've done this bit of cleaning, so any chance you can help us with the roof? Because everyone, don't look up right now, because they look bad. So there's a bit more work happening with the bus stops, and that kind of moment of arrival and making sure the information is looking good and correct. But the town team made a real impact on many of the busiest bus stops in the town centre. Next slide, please. So we are at a point now where we're kind of cruising. You know, we've identified what we want to do. We've got some more money because it's a funded project by the UK SPF fund. We want to now tie down what's next. So I'm going to bring the town team back together for a face-to-face meeting to celebrate what's been achieved but so far, to re-look at that kind of initial list of things that we said we want to do. You know, has that changed in the last year? Is there something brand new and kind of desperate for us to get our teeth around? I've got some ideas to bring to the table there. And then we're going to identify our next community project, which is an exciting thing to be able to do within the group. Excitingly also, as I mentioned, the town team is a funded project. Within that group of funding, there is funding to create further town teams. So looking at using Maidenhead as a blueprint, we are now looking to work with communities to launch 3 further town teams across the borough. Wow. So we've got, we've kind of identified 3 interested parties around the borough in various places that are kind of already doing great work, but could do with the umbrella of what the town team offers. So that's kind of next step. So Maidenhead very much still continuing, keep fighting the good fight, doing the good stuff, but yeah, using our good work as a blueprint to be able to launch 3 further town teams. Next slide, please. If you've looked at this presentation and thought, well, I didn't know about the town team, that's fine, I'll forgive you. But make sure that you join the Maidenhead Town Team Facebook group to keep up to date with what we're doing. And importantly, to get involved. The town team is open to all residents in the local area. New residents just coming in, people that have been with us for yonks and yonks. It's available to groups that are already volunteering that want to meet other volunteers. It wants to tie people together and celebrate our community. So there's a QR code there. You can scan that takes you to the Facebook group and you can find out what we've been up to. And I think that's the town team.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Robin. Yeah, I mean, look, I know we've got Councillor Douglas here, who's a volunteering champion, no doubt he'll want to comment on it. But, you know, just from my personal view, just to see the town team is really, really gone from nothing, from conception to something that's really, really flowered and blossomed. I mean, it's gone from to a real good standpoint. You know, the guys that are out there, the volunteers, they're really buzzed up. You know, they're enjoying it. You know, and there's a real sort of camaraderie and community spirit about it. And what you've done effectively, you've sort of stepped in where sort of, you know, there's been sort of this sort of passing the buck from like contractors to, you know, whoever, and you've just stepped in and taken over. And in some of these areas, you know, these planters, they've been an eyesore for years, and you know, we couldn't do anything with them. You know, people were constantly, especially, you know, in St Mary's ward, my ward, I mean, they were complaining all the time that they're empty. You got sort of cigarette butts and beer cans in there left over, and now they've, you know, flowered and blossomed, and it's freshened the place up, and it's made it look cared for. And you know, residents notice when they're out and about in the town centre, you know, they're sort of, you know, they're a bit more comfortable in the town. They spend more time, they spend more money, and yeah, it's brought a bit of cheer about it. So well done to yourself and all the volunteers. I'll open the floor up to any questions. Sure.
There, I think you're absolutely right. We know that there are pressures on the services that we're offering, that the council offers, and the town team it's kind of hit the sweet spot in terms of we have residents within our community, new residents, and we want to entice new residents as well. And these are quite small things in the grand scheme of things, you know, a few planters here, a few planters there. Add that to the hanging baskets, which the Maidenhead Town Partnership funds. All of these kind of things are just small fry things, but they do make an impact.
Big difference.
And like I said, when the sun shines, they make an even bigger impact. I feel exactly the same, that the team are pumped, you know,
Yeah.
It's going really well. And I think that if we can harness that kind of engagement within other town teams, that will only be a benefit to the wider borough as well.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Brilliant. You'll be building an army of volunteers.
An army, Robin's Army of Volunteers. I kind of like the idea of it. Thank you.
That's it. Any questions, anyone? George Shaw, Councillor Shaw.
Yeah, I just want to thank you and thank all the volunteers, obviously. Is fly tipping something the town team is interested in looking at? For, I know certain areas where it's private land, so the council can't get involved, but the residents are really struggling with trying to get something organised and hard to get things moving. And help a group of volunteers would be quite helpful. Just wondering if that's something that's been thought about and who's interested in.
It hasn't been something that has come up within the what things do we want to tackle. I don't think there's any harm in throwing anything into the mix, but I'm also very conscious that we are volunteers, we are residents. Everything that we're wanting to do with the group is we do it safely. We don't want anyone to be put in a position where they feel uncomfortable or they don't want to do that. You know, we can always throw an idea out, and if it doesn't get accepted, it doesn't get accepted. With fly tipping, I understand the private land issue, and I do mention this to a town team whenever we're going out or whenever things are happening. It's so important that things are getting reported, and where issues are on private land, if we're getting lots and lots of reports, then maybe that is something that we can further push on. We have got a couple of waste issues in and around the town centre, which we're kind of trying to get under the thumb at the moment, but the reporting of those things is really important. So whenever there are things, residents do kind of impress on them to make sure they use the report it function, rather than kind of sitting alone with the worry. By reporting it, you get a case number, so it's logged, and then you can follow up on that log number to be able to say, is there any update, whether or not that's a positive update or not, but at least it's been logged somewhere as an issue within our borough. Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Douglas.
Thank you very much, Chair. It is very exciting that the town team's managed to prove itself over the last year. That's the trick, is to keep things going once they get started, isn't it? I think they deserve a huge amount of thanks from the town itself, as do you, Robin. Thank you so much for your enthusiasm. You mentioned some sort of celebration or some event. I don't know exactly what you're planning. Can we ask for a bit more detail about that? And the reason why I ask that is because I think maybe the key to long-term, keeping these things going long-term, is for the people who volunteer to feel appreciated. They don't want paying, that's why they're volunteering. And some of them don't want to be in photos, but I think all of them want to know that we as a community appreciate them and care about what they're doing.
So the plan is, and it is kind of just coming together in my emails at the moment, that I bring the town team back together to celebrate the success of that first year, much like we did in our launch meeting, to celebrate what we've done, have a well-deserved well done, get the press coverage down there, celebrate, you know, see what we've done, and use that as kind of the impetus to be able to say, onwards, next project, let's do it. I'm hoping that will be September, but you know, some holidays now, like town team are going to be busy, they're going to be on holiday, readying themselves for the new year. So we're hoping that's September, but I'm now looking to kind of start identify and discuss with the town team group through the newsletters, through the messaging, through the Facebook, what do we want to do next? I've got a couple of ideas that I'll throw out, but I'm very happy to be guided, really. And I think, it's not said enough. They're fantastic.
Brilliant. Thank you. Councillor Baskerville.
I don't know if you're sort of up to date with the news, or if you're the right person, but people always asking about the car parking situation, also about Nicholson Centre. Is there any news on how things are developing there, and when people are more likely to be or have the ability to use these places, and when those spaces are going to be more available?
I'm not the right person for that. That would be Propco, parking team for the car park, and planning as well. I wouldn't like to speak on that. As far as I know, no updates. So unfortunately, I can't give you anything else.
Okay. So on that point, Lawrence, do you think we could have that question raised with officers for a response? Yeah.
And yeah.
Thank you. Because the car park issue is probably the single biggest issue we have in the Maidenhead town centre at the moment. It's having a huge detrimental impact on business. It's a fantastic site. I mean, but once it's cleared, even if there is a delay in the regeneration of Nicholson Shopping Centre, I think what we need to do is we need to get an operator in there and have a meanwhile use and operate the car park, because there was a bit of retail, wasn't there, on the corner of that site, adjacent to King Street. There was a load of units there, so you can, and I've seen it, and I'm sure you're familiar. There are other town regenerations. We do have operators that do move in quite quickly, set up a car park and some sort of box park retail operation. I'm sure you can put something like that together really quickly, Robin. But the pressure is on really on us, because I've spoken to the manager and the Nicholson Centre just the other day. Yesterday I was in the high street. Retailers are feeling the pain at the moment.
Obviously, we are struggling with car parking. That's not an issue that is brand new. Demolition has completed, so we're kind of at that point now. As I mentioned, with any news on the car park, what that site is going to be, what it isn't going to be, that doesn't sit with me. I can't give you an answer on that. In terms of car parking, what I do know is that, as always, our surface level car parks, West Street, Grove Road, are our most popular spaces. They are turning traffic over, working at about 400–500% capacity a day. There is capacity in Hines Meadow car park every day of the week. So we kind of want people to be able to feel comfortable to park there. That is our kind of town centre car park. There's on-street parking and availability around that. So there is parking capacity. I know that it maybe is not the most convenient for some people, but what we're also seeing on the other side of that is our footfall levels are back to pre-pandemic levels. We're coming into months now which are always our most popular of footfall months, which is fantastic. Summer is always good in Maidenhead, but actually the months leading up to that this year have been really good as well. We know that retail is changing. We know that our offer is a very mixed offer, but our vacancy rate in Maidenhead is low. We are lower than the national average. Of the 290 units that we have available in Maidenhead, there are only 30 units that are vacant at the moment. And some of those are in the process of being let as well. So I understand the frustration with the car parking. And I know that what we are seeing across the whole of retail, and certainly not Maidenhead alone, is that although footfall might be high, that maybe isn't translating into sales. Maidenhead isn't unique in that point of view. That is happening across the country. That's internet shopping for you, unfortunately. Yeah. I think we're all absolutely, we all do it. We see something in a shop, we feel it, we leave it. we go home, we find a discount code and we buy it online. And I don't, you know, that's not the best way to do it, but obviously we want to be able to transfer that footfall into money in the tills. And that's something that we need to work on with our retailers. But I would hope that we will see an increase in positive retail as we head into our busiest months. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, totally on board. Councillor Douglas.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, parking is such an important issue in town, St Mary's Ward in particular. Do you mind if I go back to the town team just briefly?
Sure.
Chair? Robin, I was just going to ask, so, I mean, I don't know what it's like elsewhere in the country in terms of responsiveness, but I imagine that even in the councils where graffiti action is taken the quickest, you know, there's a process of someone reporting graffiti, there's a certain amount of delay, and then eventually you may or may not get a clean-up job. But I don't think anywhere, probably, I'm guessing in the country, do you get new graffiti, and then within 24 hours, enthusiastic volunteers who bought their own jet washers. Well, this has happened at least twice. So one of the pictures in your slideshow, but also the lovely new signage that we got funded and was commissioned. I don't know how long that was up before it had it first. Yeah, it wasn't long, but it didn't last long, and I'm really hoping that we can keep that passion.
Yes, definitely. I think Maidenhead has hit a unique spot in terms of the passion that our volunteers have for graffiti removal as one topic, but all of the other bits that they're doing as well. As you mentioned, yes, the wayfinding in Maidenhead, the monoliths, the finger posts and the wall-mounted signage wayfinding are now all up to date, installed and signed off fantastically. One of our wall-mounted signs within a week, unfortunately, was victim to some graffiti. Easy one to remove. It's a metal sign, so we just get a wipe on that. Lovely. But yeah, I think the more we can shout about the town team removing that graffiti or looking after those planters, you know, we've seen a really positive impact in the planters. We've only had one planter damaged of the 50, you know, and they're in high traffic areas where people might have had a drink, they're going home, they're a bit silly, those kind of things. But in the entire time they've been up, and we planted them in April, I think, we've only had one planter damaged, which is, you know, fantastic. And the social media outpouring, I mean, the town team has done wonders for the Make Maidenhead engagement, if I'm honest with you. The positive outpouring to the things which the town team are doing is fantastic. And I think even the most negative of social media keyboard warriors have been impressed by what a team of volunteers, of our residents, of people who have lived, worked and loved Maidenhead have done for us. So yeah, you are right. I need to shout about it more. We need to shout about it more. So yeah, the more the merrier.
Brilliant. Thank you. Councillor Bond.
Thank you. I think I just want to support both of what's been said about parking. When I visit businesses to the southern end of town around Queen Street, you know, they would love more parking around that area to make it easy for their customers, especially if they're in a hurry. But earlier today, I visited the town. I went straight to the Hines Meadow car park. I parked on the first floor of the lower level, which is very convenient to just walk out by the waterways. It's lovely there. I met a couple of tourists having a look round. And also in the upper levels, the 2 levels above Sainsbury's, there are 2 rows of disabled parking. And on the upper of those 2 levels, whenever I've been there, there've only been 1 or 2 of the bays occupied out of about a dozen. So, and you're right by the lifts and the travelator to come down to the ground level. So, whilst it's not ideal if you have mobility issues, I can certainly confirm there is always parking in the town in Hines Meadow, and today it was just very easy. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, no doubt there is parking, there is capacity in the town, but it's just a case of making it super convenient for people. because that Broadway car park, I mean, it helped so much. I mean, it helped people when they went to the cinema, you know, the David Lloyd gym. I mean, the one Maidenhead. I mean, you know, retailers coming in there would love it, you know, to have the car park just across the road. So it just, I mean, people are sometimes a bit lazy and they just want to park in that surface car park and go in. And I don't know, it'll help if we can get some sort of clarity on that. But Lawrence, you're going to get some answers from the property company about that. What's the plan with it once it's demolished? And not Tempo, the Broadway car park. Yeah, if we can ask those questions, because I think residents will really appreciate a response on that. What's going to happen once it's demolished? It's almost cleared, site's cleared. So we need to find out whether there's a plan for meanwhile use or it's just going to be boarded up. And the Nicholson redevelopment, please. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So I think we've sort of moved on to agenda item number 6 and ready. So resident questions and suggestions for future forums. I mean, do we have any, first of all, any questions from residents? We've already raised the issue of the Broadway car park. Is there any others? Councillor Bond?
It's something that was raised with me. It is again parking, but this is the 2 Cookham Road surgeries, the doctor's surgeries. There's Cedars and Clivemont. And there's also a dentist's practitioners there and the pharmacy. And they originally had the whole of the leisure centre parking, but with the development of that site, there's very limited parking, either for ordinary parking or for disabled. And there is an alleyway through to a car park on the northern part of the that site, the leisure centre site. But when I last went there, it seemed to be permit holders signs up. So I'm not sure if there's people from the surgery can park there. And you know, they are finding it a problem. There was originally a sort of long-term plan for the surgeries to move, but I'm not aware that's happening now. So I think they would be very keen to know if there's a plan for more parking. Thank you.
That's a good point. Robin?
I don't have a further answer for you. That's going to sit with the parking team and the development site. Just in terms of that car park, which sits on Kennet Road?
Yeah.
God, nearly got there then. Kennet Road. So that is now a car park which is available for use. It was permit holders only, but it is a car park now, which is done by Ringo. So that is open to the public. There are permit holders in there, but you can park in that space of that car park as well. So whether or not that is of support to the doctors and the dentists and various things like that, but it is certainly another surface level car park just on the outskirts of town, which could be useful.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean that I think myself and Councillor Douglas, we're aware of that. We did meet with the doctors probably about 3 or 4 months ago at the Clivemont and the Cedar surgery. This is a live issue. We're aware of this. I think the 2 surgeries have about 30,000 patients. So they're very, very big surgeries. There was talk about offering them spaces in Hinds Meadow car park. And I don't know if those discussions are any forthcoming, but yeah, the former Temping car park is scheduled to be built on. So I think at the end of this year, I think it's like 31st of December, it's going to be closed. But we can find out about that. Lawrence, maybe perhaps that is another one ready to find out what's the plan, what's the solution. And I think maybe perhaps with all of these property matters coming up, it may be an idea to invite the property company to the next forum. I think it'd be very prudent to get some insight from them, because these are property asset related issues which we're constantly hearing back from residents on. Thank you. Okay. Are there any further questions from anyone? Councillor Shaw, did you have anything that you wanted to raise?
So at a previous meeting, we discussed disability access into the town and research into how disabled people travel through and how they can access everything. I wanted to know if there's been work or research into kind of neuro-inclusivity for neurodivergent access, as it's something that's quite close to me.
So yes, pleased to say that the Maidenhead specific ones, but also Ascot and Windsor and Eton access able guides are now available for use. They basically, Access Able is a company that we worked with the Visit Windsor team to be able to look at people's journeys. And when I say people, that is anyone. So whether you're neurodivergent, whether you have access needs in terms of kind of disability, additional needs basically, or would like to look at where you're going in advance to say, I want to look at the journey, I want to kind of look at these kind of things. So the Maidenhead access guides are live, and they are not just venues. So yes, there are a number of venues, and we did a real mixed bag from kind of shops, arts, the library, pubs, everything, but also streetscapes as well. So that kind of idea, if you get off the trains at Maidenhead station, what is the streetscape like? They are really, really comprehensive guides to all of these local areas. They are not, an access able guide goes out to a venue and surveys the venue. It doesn't give it suggestions for how to do things differently, but it says, here's what they're doing, so that the average person can turn around and say, okay, I know that now. So we are looking now to start promoting those access able guides far and wide around the town, making sure that the venues that were surveyed are shouting about their ones as well. As a borough, we are fully done. Windsor, Eton, Ascot and Maidenhead are done. In Maidenhead, I think I ended up with about 50 guides. We got quite a lot of good stuff. We do have a disability and inclusion forum which runs in Maidenhead, across the borough, and that is certainly looking at kind of the journey of anyone with any additional needs or any additional kind of desires for needing to know further information. So the forum is fantastic. We are looking at accessible employment at the moment and moving forward with that, but the access able guides are a really good first point to be able to share them with people who are visiting our towns, and I can share those wider as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that answer that?
No, that's, well, I think, yeah, the main thing that's been raised to me is, yeah, how to be able to access that information and whether it takes into account how difficult it is to access information for people with neurodivergence. Things like even just seeing a page of text on a website or a guide can be a complete turn off and be unable to come to you unless they're given guidance on how long it will take in advance. So are those things taken into account by these guides?
Yes. So what I would say is Access Able are like one of the leading companies that we could have worked with to be able to do this, to deliver this. We've worked really closely with them, and we have been really, really impressed by what they've been able to offer. They work specifically within kind of the engagement group that, so a lot of the surveyors may be people with autism, or they may be someone that is disabled, because they need to know the actual experience. And that comes down to it as well with the guides. So they have short read versions, there's a lot of symbols, they have long versions for people that need a lot of detail. They go into minute detail if you need it, but the website itself is really, really user-friendly across a whole spectrum of people's needs. We're really impressed by it. Hopefully you will be too.
Thank you. Councillor Douglas.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of issues that I'd like to suggest that the Chair considers for future meetings or perhaps questions for officers. So one which is, I mean, the Town Manager would be well aware probably of both of these, but not necessarily questions for you. And so will Belmont councillors and St Mary's councillors, the A4 underpass, which has been flooded for a number of years. It's been a while since we've had any update concerning that or any sort of new information. And perhaps a related question is, it has been raised a couple of times that whether there's a potential for, and this is triggered in my mind by Councillor Bond's trip this morning from Hines Meadow, from the ground floor of Hines Meadow car park, is it possible to help residents with the journey from there through Waterside to the town centre, just in terms of markings? Because that's the one thing that's lacking. If you know, yes, you can walk through, but if you don't know, you might not even know there's a way through, especially if you're coming from Holmanleys over the crossing. And yeah, this has come up a number of times. And if, yeah, can we consider that for future forum?
Yes, certainly. J4 underpass, I think that one we could get ask that question of officers and get a response for the next meeting. Yeah, because that one's been going on, it's gone on a long time. We're trying to promote cycling, walking infrastructure, and you know, when one of the key footpaths in the town centre is flooded, it's not a very good advert. That one definitely, I agree with you, Councillor Douglas, on that. And the markings, it's a good idea. I know you've mentioned it before. And if they do have in some of these towns like some footsteps or painted footsteps and markers with where you have the line and sort of say it's like 100 yards to the pub or whatever, you know. But yeah, I mean it would help, I think, because you know where you've got sort of Hines Meadow and I don't know, the colonnade. It's literally 50 yards, but when you're in Hines Meadow, it doesn't feel like 50. It's like you're in the abyss, you know. You just sort of, or you know, Vickers Way, for example, you go through the waterway, and you know, 3 minutes you're up baked, aren't you? Sitting there with your feet up. So it's, I think, yeah, something like that. But I don't know where do you think, Robin? Do you think that would be better to come in back here or in disability inclusion forum?
Conversation with the parking team.
Okay.
Enhanced signage is something that is on my radar. Obviously, making that user experience is very important. You want to have people to have really good user experience when they're coming through the car park into the town and navigating around the town. As I mentioned, the wayfinding in Maidenhead is now complete. So people will actually be able to be directed in the right direction. But unfortunately, that doesn't go into the car park. So the first finger post you see is kind of on the bridge from that area. I am in discussions with Waterside Quarter. They're keen to kind of further promote that journey and make a better user experience. So if I continue on that work, maybe I can bring that conversation back here.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Okay, so we could do that. And maybe perhaps another thought, maybe if we could contact the cabinet and see if there's a cabinet member would be interested in attending the forum and letting us know the work that they're doing in these areas. Yeah, yeah. If you can ask that question, I think that would be a good idea to get some bit of insight into sort of what the forward plan is in these areas. Thank you. Is there any other questions? Councillor Douglas.
Thank you, Chair. Just to follow up, yeah, it's really exciting that Waterside Quarter are interested in looking at this. And one thing that might be interesting is getting them to do a survey of people walking across the crossing. Just ask them how many of them actually know you can go through that little winding stairway path door and through Hines Meadow. I suspect it's, well, I don't think it's everyone, put it that way.
I see, it could be, but we never know. We need to ask questions. It could be some sort of elaborate plan that Robin's got. It's like, you know, when you go into these theme parks, you know, they sort of like snake you around and you end up coming through a gift shop or something. I don't know. Yeah. That's it. Councillor Bond.
Just to say congratulations on reopening it's called the St Mary's Walk door from Hines Meadow. So this is a door tucked away. It's right behind the back of the church. So on Sunday morning, the congregation use it. But you can walk there beside the building and come out in the square at the front of Sainsbury's and walk through St Mary's Walk or walk into the town centre. And it's just a pleasant walk and nice to have another option for getting from the car park. So great.
It's a good idea, yeah. Thank you, well done, good work. I think that's everything on that agenda item, really. Agenda item number 7, date and location for next meeting is going to be here, 3rd of September 2024. I think that's everything. If there's any other questions, no. In that case, we conclude the meeting. Thank you very much. Cheers.